Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Meditations with Parker and Lindsay. And we have a special surprise guest today on our show. Not really a show, but on our meditation show. This is Jenna Emerson. She works at Living Well, and she's going to talk to us tonight about relationships and sexuality. And then I'll lead a meditation, and we can go from there.
That sounds great. Thanks for having me on your show. So let's just get into it and let's talk about it, right? Because this is coming up for a lot of people. I see this is coming up for a lot of students, expectations of what dating and exploring sexuality might look like. And it can be confusing or just really uncertain of what it's going to be. And so let's get into it. So yeah, whether you're in a romantic or sexual relationship, or maybe you're single, you might be experiencing a change or a shift in physical or emotional connection or intimacy, right? Whether you're like quarantined with somebody or you're abstaining from sexual activity because of COVID risk, there's lots of reasons, but the feelings that can come out of this could be loneliness, maybe horniness, loss of sexual desire, anxiety, sadness, grief, maybe deeper connection with people, or just a general like joy in being alone. So any of these feelings are valid and normal. And also navigating sex, relationships, and sexuality through a pandemic, especially that a pandemic that says that we need to physically distance from each other, is not easy. Right? Maybe you're used to hugging and touching your friends, and that's where you were getting a lot of your physical connection. Maybe you were used to making out with people at parties and found a lot of joy in that. And those are going to be shifting, especially with different risks, right? And so with that change, though, there's also an opportunity. So during this time, you can discover a lot about yourself. You can discover how to be your own best friend. Maybe that's through positive self-talk, getting in touch with your needs, or just generally practicing self-care routines for yourself and how to also support your friends or maybe your roommate. And also during this time, you can explore how to be your own best lover. Right? So maybe your love language is words of affirmation and you want to give that to yourself. Maybe you explore by being just really silly or really creative and feeling desirable through that. Maybe you're engaging in some really hot masturbation sessions or ordering this toy you've been eyeing for the past year and you're like, now's the time. Now is the time. Yes, now's the time. Make that purchase if you can. Right? Or maybe you're just being really smitten by your own body and your sexual interests. And it makes me wonder, like, what would happen if you just radically accepted yourself and maybe even fall in love with your body's size, its shape, its color, its texture, maybe the way it moves or the way it feels or the way it experiences pleasure, maybe even orgasm. And sometimes self-acceptance sounds really easy, right? You see this in a meme, you see it on Instagram, and it's just flooding. And we all know, however, that it's really hard. And that's why it's a journey and not a destination, right? It's not something we arrive at, it's something we can practice. And I hope through this journey that you discover new things and that you also continue to build these meaningful relationships with yourself, right, as your primary partner. You can have multiple primaries, but hopefully one of them is yourself. And also relationships with others that just make you feel loved, seen, and appreciated. And if you do some of these things or none of these things, that's also totally fine and okay, because you are just surviving a pandemic, right? And either way, however you decide to choose this time, just know that you are cute, that you are fun, and that you are so worthy of love.
Oh, thanks so much, Jenna. So building off of what Jenna said, I'm going to lead us in a meditation. And we're going to do a couple of things in the meditation. We're going to do some positive self-talk, like Jenna was saying, like becoming our own best friend. We're also going to do a little bit of self-touch, not masturbation, but just self-touch, just kind of some soothing self-touch. And part of the reason we're going to do the positive self-talk is actually based on something I talked about in a prior video. So as human beings, our brains are actually wired to focus more on the negative. So we're like wired to focus on more of like being like self-critical and like the ways that we don't like who we are, than focusing on the positive. It's called the negativity bias. So it actually takes intention. We have to actually work at bringing our awareness to the positive in order to kind of build ourselves up and like to have more self-love and more self-acceptance. So we'll do a little bit of each of these in the meditation, and you could take a minute just to get set up. You can be sitting up, you can be lying down, you could be on a chair, a floor, a bed, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Good, and then you can have your eyes closed or just like just open with like a soft gaze. Good, and then take a couple deeper breaths. And as you exhale, see if you can just start to let your body soften and settle, settling into the earth beneath you. Good. And then now we're gonna bring to mind affirmation. And so I'm gonna give you one, and you can use this, but if it doesn't feel like it works for you, feel free to come up with your own. So the one I'm gonna use is, I am worthy of love just as I am. I'm worthy of love just as I am. And so you can use that one. Maybe you could use something like just, I am loved, or I'm connected. Just see what feels best for you. And it's not that you will necessarily like believe it 100%. That's actually like part of why we're doing it, because we may not believe it. But just one that you're like willing to work with for a little while here. And so you can just start to say in your mind, I am worthy of love just as I am, or whatever your affirmation is. And just begin to repeat it in your mind until you can hear it really clearly, really hearing yourself say these words. And again, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, just letting the words come out and hearing the words in your mind. And if your attention goes to something else, that's totally normal. That's just what our minds do. Just notice that and then bring your attention back to your affirmation. Okay, so now we're going to shift a little bit, and instead of saying the affirmation in your mind, just invite you to bring to mind like a memory of a time that you felt really loved just as you are. Could be a memory of a time when you were with somebody else. Could be a memory of some time you were alone, or maybe like somewhere in nature, or maybe like walking down a city street, just feeling good. And this is a place where you can get really creative. So it may be like a memory, or it may be just like an image that makes you think about being loved. And so if it's a memory, see if you can like bring it right here, like transport yourself to that moment as if it's happening in this moment. And some of us are like really visual, some might be really clear. Some of us are not so visual, it might just be like a vague sense of it. Either is totally fine. And just for a few more moments, hang out with that memory. Again, if your attention goes somewhere else, to some other memory or some other thing that you have to do later today, totally normal. Just bring your attention back to that image of feeling good, feeling loved. And then now, you might be feeling this a little bit already, but just we're gonna bring more attention to it. Bring awareness to what that feels like in your body. So you have this image or this memory, you have these words of positive affirmation. I'm loved. I'm worthy of love, whatever it is for you. And see what you sense in your body. What does it feel like to feel worthy of love just as you are? And maybe you get just like a little subtle sense of it. Maybe it's hard to feel in your body and you could just imagine what it would feel like. Either way is totally fine. And you can bring all these three together. You can be saying the words in your mind, you can have an image, and then just like soaking it into your body. Any pleasure that you feel, just allow yourself to feel that as much as you can, or just imagine feeling it as much as you can. Okay, so now we're going to come into a little bit of soothing touch and a couple different positions that we're going to work with. You can see what works best for you. So start just bringing one hand onto your heart and one hand onto your belly. And just start to sense the kind of gentle pressure of your hands on your body. And through your hands, just kind of sending some care into your heart, into your belly. These are two very vulnerable parts of our body. It can be really helpful to just send some love and care, warmth. Again, if there's any pleasure that you feel, just allowing yourself to feel that as much as possible, even if it's super subtle. Okay, so if that feels good, you can keep on with that. If you want to try this other position, you can cross your arms and just bring your hands to the opposite upper arm. And giving yourself a little bit of a hug. And again, just notice, what does this feel like in your body? Really soaking in any care. warmth, worthy of love just as you are. You can continue to repeat that affirmation with this soothing touch. And if that feels good, you could stay there, or you could try this one last position of either bringing both of your hands onto your face or just one hand onto your face. I'm worthy of love just as I am. And just taking in the tenderness of your hands. Yeah, feel free to massage your face if you'd like. Okay. And if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. Thanks for joining me for that meditation.
Thank you.
Yeah. So nice to have you here, Jenna. And thanks all of you out there for joining us tonight. Hope that was useful in some way. And remember, you can keep on coming back with meditations all week. So thank you.
Bye.